Hi everyone, Dave McCune here from the Church Explained podcast. This is our bite-sized episode and we want to inspire you today, wherever you're listening, whatever part of the world you're listening from. We hope you will be inspired as we talk about transitions and one of the projects we run called Icon Open. This is taken from our random episode we did right at the beginning of the year. You can go back and listen to the full version there if that's useful for you. But today, in this episode, in our bite-sized version, let's hear about transitions and we hope you are inspired.
Yes.
Right, so I'm going to go in the cup.
Yes.
I haven't a clue what is going to come out.
No.
And neither do you.
No.
But we know it's something
something
that could be useful for you.
Here we go.
I'm going to try and read your writing. So we've got something around... Oh, a good one.
Okay.
We want to talk to you about transition.
Transition.
And the reason we want to talk about that is because your role's changed this year.
Yes, it has. So, still oversee youth. I'm youth pastor, but now I've become campus pastor at our Chesterfield campus. And so, transition has been a big part of this past year.
Yeah.
For myself and my wife and family. But it's also been a big part for you.
It has. But before we get into me, I want to come back to you.
On,
so let's try and figure out what's been the biggest challenge for you in regards to transition.
I would say the biggest challenge is knowing how much to do, how quickly.
Right.
So you transition into a role and, transition to becoming campus pastor and you have all of these ideas, you have all of this stuff that you want to do.
Because you've been thinking about all that stuff, haven't you? Even before you have a role, you're thinking about all that stuff.
Yeah, so this is what I'd love to do, and then it's, so how do I do that?
Yeah.
When do I do it? How quickly
Mm.
without rocking... Because, our Chesterfield campus is healthy.
Solid, strong.
Solid, good teams, all of that. But there are little things that, might want to change and tweak and all of that. And how much do you do? At what time? And when do you do it? Is it too early? Is it too late?
Yeah.
I guess that's been the biggest challenge and still is. Because, that only started in September 2021.
Yeah.
The role, it still is the challenge of, do we do that now? Or do we wait?
When we do those changes.
Yeah.
And I suppose like every leader's thinking about that. When they have a transition or a change in leadership, what do I do first?
Yeah.
I suppose is a good question, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And have you figured it out?
No. No. Taken lots of advice.
Yeah.
And I think even some of our podcasts and some of the things that we've done have really helped in terms of thinking. But you can speak to one person and they'll, you need to do it like straight away. You speak to someone else and they're like, well, just, ease it and do that. And so I think the biggest thing that I've learned is that like communication is key.
Yeah, I agree with
So
that.
communicating. And so for me, communicating with my leaders, communicating with those who are leading me as well around some of those ideas to get their thoughts on that. And is that, is it a good idea to do? So I think communication is a big key for that.
So how are you feeling about the sort of future and that sort of going into that role of transition? How do you feel about it? That change of role now. Did you have to change your thinking a little bit, or
I think
was it already there?
Yeah, I think my thinking was already there.
Okay.
So a little bit of my story is that we launched into a place called Derby, and I was campus pastor there. And then we handed that on, came back to Chesterfield to be part of the team in Chesterfield, and then now a Chesterfield campus pastor. So we've been part of that as a campus pastor and thinking
you've done it before.
in that thinking before. Chesterfield is on a much larger scale than Derby was, and that was like pioneering. Here's a church and a campus that's been around 35 years, and now I'm leading that campus and leading people who've been in the church since I was a kid.
Yeah, and I suppose leading it still with the senior leader.
Yep.
Still there, which is obviously your dad.
Yeah.
That may come up as a question later. We don't know.
Who knows?
But your dad and obviously your mum, senior leaders here at Icon Church, they're still around every Sunday, aren't they? Really? So you've got to lead, I suppose, in the light of that as well.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about that as yet?
I think like for me, it's just being confident.
Confident in who you are.
Yeah, confident in who I am.
Yeah.
Confident in my leading. And realizing that they are for me.
Yeah.
And they want me, they've not put me in this role to fail.
No.
They've put me in this role because they believe in me and they believe in my leadership. So there's a belief there. And then keeping those lines of communication open is really important.
I suppose in one sense, some people, I was just thinking of this as we're talking, some people could see that as a negative having them there. But actually, it's a real positive, isn't it, if you think about it deep down, because like they've got your back, haven't they? Where like if you went in as a pastor to another church, you don't know anybody. At least you've grown here. People know you. That you've always got challenges as well, that sort of stuff, but they know you.
Yeah, and I'd encourage anyone who's maybe a senior leader who's transitioning out, but you're staying in the church. I think one of the big things you can do is be like on the front row.
Cheering them on.
Yeah. Being their biggest supporter.
Yeah, definitely.
Even little things like when someone comes up to you, oh, I liked it when you did this. Yeah. Say, yeah, but they do it better. Yeah, or, it's just
I've heard your dad say that a lot recently.
Yeah.
He does it better.
Yeah.
I'll say no more. I'm just joking.
No, it's good. So you yourself transitioned.
Yeah. Yeah, so my role changed quite significantly as well. I suppose in the last year and a half, because I went from a senior leader role leading two churches. We pulled all our churches together, didn't we? So I brought my two churches, which were the Hub Church, into Icon Church. And so it's been a bit of a transition for me from my role as well. As a senior leader, thinking about everything that you would normally think about as a senior leader, to, I suppose, narrowing that down to focus on a few key things. Which is, it's been exciting, but also a bit of a shift, I think, in my mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're going from running like at 100 miles an hour with lots of different things to suddenly then you're still running, you're going quick, but you're running with fewer things, but you can give more focus to.
Yeah.
And that's been good. So some of the things that we've been able to get focus to is one, like something like this, the podcast. It allowed us then to put this out, help leaders, help churches, and some of the stuff we're doing as well.
No, brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, let's dive in.
To
Dave's pot of
could be anything
randomness.
in here.
Here we go. Oh, seeing as we've talked transition.
Right.
The topic is Icon Open.
Icon Open.
Which is one of the things that has been your focus. So why don't you, for anyone who doesn't know, or maybe they've just tuned into the podcast, what is Icon Open?
Yeah.
And maybe just share a little bit around what's happened.
Yeah, we can do that. So Icon Open, as you said, is one of the sort of projects I've been heading up for us. And for anyone who hasn't come across it before, it is a resource site filled with lots of stuff on there that churches or leaders and teams can go to, and they can download the resources that we've created, and we want to give them a second life, really. We've put them back out there, and so we've hundreds and hundreds of resources on there where, let's say, for example, someone just wants to put together a message, but they need a spark of an idea, or someone needs like a leadership talk or a leadership idea or some insight into something. Well, hopefully they can come to our resource site, icon.church/open. And they can get on there for free with hundreds of resources. They can download them. We've sort of taken our branding off them so they can use them in their own context. And we launched it back in Easter this year.
Yes.
And I think since then we've probably had round about 25,000 hits on our website of people searching for the content. So it's brilliant. So the big passion is, how can we resource other people? How can we resource other churches and leaders and teams? Because people need help, and churches need help, and it doesn't matter what size the church is. To be honest, like on Icon Open, the amazing thing is we've got some really big churches who have signed up, and obviously I can't really name them today, but there's some really big churches across the world, and then there's some smaller churches like a new church plant or anything of that nature. So there's lots out there where people are searching, and we've got lots of great content. There's other great content out there. We're not the only one doing this. But it's something we want to do as Icon Church because we just want to be generous.
Yeah.
And show our generosity to the capital C Church. So that's a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know as, you know, when we started out as a youth pastor, you'd go searching on certain sites for ideas, resources, would use some of those. Some of those would take and then, you know, adjust them to fit our context. And so, like, we're not precious about use it in whatever way.
Do whatever you want. I think that's the heart. Do whatever you want with it. I mean, if you want to use some of it, like I like the phrase like steal like an artist.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So take it, use it. You know, if it's going to help your church and help your team grow and help you as a leader grow, like we'd rather give it away free and let people use it, and at least it helps them, doesn't it? Rather than sitting somewhere in a church somewhere.
And it's where all our podcasts are stored.
We've got a podcast there
with show notes.
Yeah,
so
we've got lots on there. So all the podcasts, all the resources, so they give people an idea. If they haven't been on, like there's stuff on there around messages, youth stuff, kids stuff, creative and worship, general. What else? Anything else? Did I miss anything?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. Oh, staff talks.
Staff talks,
like
behind the scenes stuff.
Leadership,
That's
behind the
very good.
scenes. So so really good. Yeah.
So that's us done for today. Do you want to wrap up?
Yeah. So thanks for listening to the Church Explained podcast. It's been so great to be together. If you could like, review, share, subscribe, wherever you're consuming this content makes a massive difference to us at the Church Explained podcast. And we look forward to seeing you next time on the Church Explained podcast. We'll see you very soon.